Welcome to Life, Money, and Community, where real conversations meet real life. I'm Tiffany Neary, and this podcast is all about the conversations we're already having about money, lifestyle, aging, and the people who matter most. You'll hear from community voices, local experts, and real stories that help you think differently, ask better questions, and feel more confident about the decisions you're making today and down the road. This isn't about pressure or pitches. It's about clarity, connection, and community. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Welcome to Life, Money, and Community, and we have a very special guest today, even though I say that about everybody. This one has children, community, everything in her plan to help. So let me just read a little bit about her because there's quite a bit, and then we'll do a breakdown of what that actually means. So we have Cassandra Sanders-Holly, Dr. Cassandra Sanders-Holly, and she is a doctor of physical therapy for over 13 years, might be more now, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
With a specialty focus and board certification in pediatric physical therapy. Now, with that, she does something interesting. Stay with me. Active in a doctorate level education at the University of Southern California and professional organizations at the APT and the American Hippotherapy Association. You're going to learn what that means. She's a speaker, local community events, national conferences, involved in so many beautiful things in our particular community of Norco, plus the surrounding area. So I am welcoming Dr. Cassandra Sanders-Holly of Leaps and Bounds, and also the nonprofit Friends of Leaps and Bounds. Now, I said a lot about her. I'm going to let Miss Cassie break that down to what that means for our community and our children, and what the heck is hippotherapy.
Thank you, Tiffany, for that introduction. And yeah, gosh, I need to update that. It's 21 years.
Goodness.
I know I have been a doctor of physical therapy in the pediatric space for 21 years. And I live out here, born and raised in Norco. And I kind of say the Inland Empire, or Norco in particular, is a place you can't wait to leave when you're young. You want to go out and see the big, bright, beautiful world. And then you leave and you do, which I did. And I said, wait a minute, that was an incredible place to grow up and to live. I want to go back there. And at the time, I was a young professional and commuting to Orange County, commuting to LA County. And I looked around and thought, there is nothing around here for patients with disabilities, for their families. They are also commuting to Orange County and LA, sometimes 2, 3, 4 times a week for therapy for their disabled child. And that's got to change. And so Leaps and Bounds was born, and I had no idea what to expect. I opened a teeny tiny office. It was just me. I had no staff. I put $500 on a credit card and put together a little office and treated one patient with a little website that I built at the time. This was back in 2010, and found our first patient. What really drove me was not only wanting to provide pediatric physical therapy, highly specialized care right here in the Inland Empire, but really hippotherapy, which does not happen at a zoo. Hippos is the Greek word for horse. And what better thing for a person who's born and raised in Norco to do than to combine my two greatest loves, working with horses and working with children. Hippotherapy is a highly evidence-based treatment tool where we use specialized medical grade equine movement, which a lot of people probably don't even know is a thing, to help our patients sit, stand, walk, get stronger, grow in their postural skills and their strength, their sensory experience, all of these things to improve so that their functional daily life improves. I am not teaching them to ride a horse. We are simply using the horse's specialized movement to promote normal gait mechanics, which is how we walk. And somewhere along the way, some brilliant people determined that, and it's been scientifically proven, that when you're on top of a horse, your pelvis and your trunk and your legs experience normal walking mechanics. So for a person like the children I work with who can't walk with normal walking mechanics, they get to experience it on the horse. And through that process, their body learns. So I thought, I have got to do this. And we started it for about 2 years, just myself, my husband, and our own backyard horse, working one patient at a time after our regular jobs. And very quickly, I learned insurance isn't going to reimburse us anymore if I'm working with a ball, which costs me next to nothing, or a horse, which costs me about $250 per session, more than if I were just working with a child in a clinic or maybe a traditional setting that you think of. And so quickly, the Friends of Leaps and Bounds nonprofit was born with a mission to fill that gap so that we didn't have to charge the patients this amount. Every other center or practice in the entire state does not accept insurance. They only charge cash for this, and upwards of $300 per hour, which is a barrier to every family to be able to do 2 to 3 times a week. And so it was actually my husband's idea. He said, why don't you just raise the money yourself? And so we have relied on this community to really help us raise funds to close that gap. And thankfully, Norco answered the challenge. Corona answered the challenge. Eastvale, Riverside, Ontario. We see patients from all over, and our supporters come from all over. We could not do this without the community's support. So
And
that's a lot.
that's been, and you know what? And the first time I heard you speak about this, I'm fascinated. The first time I got to go to the ranch, fascinated. Um, you think you understand, oh, look, that's a horse, but it has so much more to it. And if you can picture sitting on the horse and moving your body, and a child that can't do what the traditional person can do, as far as walking, um, you're right, it would mimic that. And you just didn't think so. Do traditional doctors talk about this type of thing to their patients, I wonder?
Yeah, the best part is this word hippotherapy has such research. It's so prevalent in the research. There's over 150 articles now. There's 3 that says working with a therapy ball does anything. So there's over 150 that says hippotherapy, and we use this word, is highly effective. And so doctors recognize it. Neurologists, orthopedic surgeons, sometimes we have to correct them because we don't do hippotherapy. I do physical therapy, and I can bill that as a medically necessary service to insurance. Hippotherapy is just a tool. I don't do treadmillology. I don't do weightlift therapy. I do physical therapy, and we don't call it by its tool, but where we've kind of gone wrong is this word is catchy and a buzzword and very well marketed. So people ask for hippotherapy specifically, but it truly is up to a licensed medical professional like a physical therapist to determine if it's appropriate, if it truly will be the best tool to help a child meet their functional goals.
Now let's talk about, I just went to one of your galas and it was fantastic. Highly suggest people get involved if you're interested in helping children. But talk to me about how many children are currently being serviced and how many are actually waiting.
Yes. So like I said, we started with one child, and we had about 6 at the end of a year. We have grown to serve over 400 families a week with 1,500 sessions a week. It's wild. Never in my wildest dreams did I think that that would happen, but that is thanks to the community rising to the challenge, because like I said, we have to raise $200 to $300 for every single session we do. We offset some of that cost with being able to bill medical therapy. So that helps us, but we still need to raise over $1 million a year to make that happen. So we're currently serving that number. We receive, oh gosh, just last week, 150 in 1 week, new patients trying to come to us. That's 150 children waiting for specialty services. We have a wait list at any given time of several hundred children waiting. I think it's up to about 300 right now, because we are the only in the entire Southern California region who accepts medical insurance for this medically necessary therapy. Lots of people want to come to us. And that was my mission, to make this not just for the wealthy who can cash pay at every other practice, but for every single child who needs it. We work with a Medi-Cal plan, which is very exciting. We accept government benefits like the Inland Regional Center, but in order to do that, we have to fundraise to fill that gap.
And it's so much. I mean, you have a staff of people that help you do this now. I mean, it has grown obviously from
Yes.
the one horse like the one horse town, never been a one horse town, but to, I can't even imagine, I can't even tell our audience how large your business is right now. How many horses do we have that actually do the therapy?
We have 14 horses. We have a board of 6 people who are over the nonprofit, and one of those actually oversees the horses' work to make sure that the horse is fit and competent to provide this high quality, high grade movement, and then that their well being is met too, that they're not being overutilized. And that's really fascinating to me. Our horses have to, they are athletes. A lot of people think they need one hoof in the grave and we drag them around the arena. They are athletes that have to give this amazing movement, because any movement that horse does is going straight to the patient. So I don't want my patient to learn to be dragging themselves around an arena. So they're athletes. So they take a lot of exercise and training and nutrition, and vacation and rest, which was really interesting. So about 14, we have a staff of 80 across our clinic therapy and our ranch. And then at any given time, we've got 30 volunteers who are active here, who are either working directly with the horses or with the patients. So we rely heavily on volunteers, people to help us get all of this stuff done with the horses.
Let's talk about, I met one of your fantastic volunteers. Dare I say her name, Miss Karen? If I can't say her name, we'll edit that out. But uh, she is wonderful, fully committed. She has her favorites.
Mhm.
But she goes and she brushes and she does what she can do. So, what other types of volunteers do you look for?
We love that. We have a lot of volunteers who come down to helping to clean the stalls. We obviously have a team of people who do this, but the more the better. Keeping those stalls clean, our horses clean, and our environment really top notch. We're not only a working ranch, but we have medically fragile children here, so we have to be extremely clean, and safe. And so, a lot of people to make that necessary. That's like weeding and dust control and helping with that, and a lot of our volunteers pitch in. We have grooming and bathing and braiding the horses' hair, and in general, loving on the horses, which we have a group of retired ladies who love to come and do together, and they've sort of found their own community, which I absolutely love. We have exercise riders, people who know how to ride, have a very high skill level. We're not just trying to ride the energy out of a horse. We're trying to get the horse their physical work that they need to stay conditioned. So we have people come do that on a volunteer basis, or take them out for trail rides so that the horse gets a bit of a mental break as well. And then we have people who either lead the horse during the session, and know how to do that, or walk on the side. We call them sidewalkers, to just kind of make sure that patient is up there. The therapist is typically on one side, but sometimes our kids like to abandon ship, or they feel a little bit safer if there's another person over there.
Yeah. Um, so, volunteers are welcome,
Hmm.
because, I mean, it takes a village.
It does.
And it's interesting. Horses, I learned something. We did a tour of your ranch with our ELR group a few weeks ago, and you mentioned energy of the horse within a certain foot, 10 feet?
5 feet, yes.
5 feet.
Yeah. A horse can hear you from about 10 feet away, or feel you coming. And this research is pretty new. It's fascinating. Being about 5 feet away from a horse, your own blood pressure, heart rate, and respiratory rate reduce in 5 minutes of being around a horse. So no wonder our volunteers who are retired, or even our young people, they say, gosh, I just love this.
Just
It's so relaxing. It really physiologically is relaxing. It's the same as a yoga class or something to that effect. So really great, not only for our volunteers, but for the children we serve too. We think about the kids being on that horse. And I'm a physical therapist. I look at the physics. I'm looking at the biomechanics of the pelvis and how many repetitions of balance challenges. We get 3,000 in 30 minutes. Imagine bouncing on a therapy ball 3,000 times in 30 minutes. You would be exhausted. Or
Lord.
doing 3,000 bicep curls, boring, but we need that level of intensity to learn very quickly. That's called motor learning. Practice, 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 your coach always said. And we have to do that for our skills as well that our children are learning for their functional mobility. But there's this sensory experience too. They're smelling, hearing, seeing, feeling different things that are not just the biomechanics, but our patients are experiencing this reduction in heart rate and respiratory rate. There's a calming. So in particular, children with autism, which is so prevalent now, 1 in 36 might be the most current stats. That's up for debate. There's lots of different, but it's somewhere around there, approximately. You don't tend to think of children with autism having trouble walking. So why might they need hippotherapy? But it's this organization of the sensory system, this kind of dampening of the overwhelm that they may feel with sensory experiences in the environment, that gets calmed. And once we've got it calmed on that horse, then we can focus on tasks like tying their shoe or using scissors or a fork or a spoon and a knife. And we might not be doing that on the back of the horse, but we're doing things that replicate that so that when they're off the horse, they can then practice that skill.
Yes, yes. And at the gala, and I'm going to switch gears just a minute because I love this too, because families come to therapy, which means siblings of the child getting their physical therapy. So these siblings have nothing to do. I mean, they can't, it's not horse riding. They don't go there to ride horses. Those are just therapy. But you guys have an idea of what you'd like to do, and we're asking for our community's help in building this area. So share with us a little bit about your future plans.
Yeah, one of the sort of best and worst things is to see the siblings here. Number one, I love to see how involved they are and how much they're pitching in with their family. But one of the worst things is to see them stuck in the corner here for hours trying to get their homework done or trying to play in the dirt or do something. So we invited petting zoo animals here where our siblings, the brothers and sisters, get something fun to look forward to. Often they might not understand, well, why is my little brother getting to ride a horse, but I'm not? I don't understand that it's therapy. And so they get to play with our petting zoo animals. They get to brush them and walk them. Of course, that takes volunteers as well. We need volunteers who can help with our goats and our donkeys, to help these brothers and sisters have a little something fun for them to do as well. And we have imagined what we're calling our enhanced services area, which is a playground structure. Oftentimes mom and dad too, they are exhausted. They are dealing with things that most of us cannot even imagine, having to feed their child well beyond the typical age every single meal, having to do every fine motor thing, having to dress them even well beyond their 3, 4th, 5th birthday. They're having to diaper change a teenager. They're having to toilet. They're dealing with a lot. So we hope mom and dad come and have a little bit of peace, somewhere to just sit down and take a load off. They can watch the therapy, but if they have a little toddler, they've got to keep a close eye on them. So our enhanced services area will be not only a playground that's appropriate for all ages, a place for mom and dad to sit and relax in beautiful flowers, trees. The petting zoo animals will be available, and it will be fenced in so that those toddlers can roam, and mom and dad can feel that they can watch the sessions. So it would be right adjacent to our arena. So we're working on fundraising for that through our capital campaign, which is called Elevate. And through the Elevate campaign, we're aiming to raise $3 million in the next 2 years to build all of these enhancements and to continue serving right where we are.
And again, your events or just getting the word out is very, very helpful in raising money, raising more awareness. A lot of people don't know that this might be available to them,
Yes,
because
absolutely.
they just think this is it. This is how my child's going to be. Doesn't necessarily mean that. We listen when we go to your events. We listen to a lot of children on stage that have that are talking, communicating, and how they have fun, and they're up there with their therapist, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing to see the growth that you guys experience. So we
You.
just get to see a tiny bit,
Yeah.
but what we see is exciting and always interesting and needed. So,
And I love that you and your family come and support. I'm so grateful for that. And I love that you're touched by it too. I just love to see everybody who may not we get to see it every day. We get to see one of our families coined this term, we hear milestones. We talk about milestones, and our families say they want inch stones. They're not looking to move a mile, but we are celebrating that they moved an inch forward. And that is that they picked up a cup and took a drink out of a cup. And these hurdles, we call them big little leaps. These kids are making big little leaps, and we're celebrating it all. And we get to see them year over year grow into a person that comes to us who cannot speak, can't even say the word mom in their toddlerhood. And then they're giving a speech on stage. And it's just so amazing. We get to share those through our videos on our website. We have tons of those videos. We share them through our social media. They're such feel goods for everybody to just know that there's hope. And we may not have the ability to give someone the life that they once dreamed for their child, but that doesn't mean that their child's life can't have meaning and that they can't grow and find purpose and gain in their skills throughout their life. We work with not only children, but adults with disabilities. We have a 30-year-old man with cerebral palsy who comes to us. We have a 60-year-old who experienced a stroke who's been coming to us, who happens to also have cognitive delay. And so it's really fun to work with people across the lifespan. We come in and out of their life. We don't want them here 2 times a week for the rest of their life. We want them to get out into that world and enjoy, and then come back when a new challenge presents. So seeing some of that growth you get to see on stage it's really exciting. It's just doesn't feel like work.
Yeah, rewarding. So we've learned a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want some more information, all of Leaps and Bounds information will be in this podcast. It'll be listed, websites, information that you can do, your research. If you want volunteer opportunities, they are there. So thank you so much, Dr. Cassie, for coming on with us and sharing what it's all about, and just the knowledge that you've gained from 1 horse to 14 horses on a ranch, helping over, what'd you say, 400 children?
1,500 sessions a week. Yeah.
1,500 sessions a week. So that's, that has grown. So thank you so much. And again, if anybody needs information, it'll be listed for you.
Thank you, Tiffany.
Thanks for listening to Life, Money, and Community. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you're subscribed and share it with someone in your world. And when the time is right, you can book a call with me. I'm here as a resource. Until next time.